Feel free to check out my TeePublic after the video, and support me on Patreon. Watch till the end of the video for more. Well, I've already talked about Gundam, Mazinger Z, Gutorobo, Giant Robo, Votoms, Evangelion, and Ideon, so I think it'd be a good time to dive into a little bit of Macross for the channel. Back in 1980, when Gundam had forever changed anime with its first theatrical compilation movie, Shoji Kawamori, who would go on to take part in the making of Crusher Joe, Eureka 7, and even Transformers by helping design some of the original Diaclone figures, was an intern for Studio Nue at the time, and had an idea for a sci-fi space opera of his own. And after advertising company Big West approached Studio Nue about the project and partnered with TitanGoji Productions, who gave us Gatchaman and Kashan, Super Dimensional Fortress Macross came to be in 1982 and was met with great success. So much that the show even aired overseas when it was included in Harmony Gold's Robotech series, as well as spawning multiple sequels, spin-offs, and movies. And today we're going to be covering perhaps the most recognizable Macross media, which is Super Dimensional Fortress Macross, Do You Remember Love? Do You Remember Love is a 1984 animated film that retells the events of the original Macross anime. Not only was Shoji Kawamori a director, but also Noboru Ishiguro, who previously worked on Space Battleship Yamato and later Legend of the Galactic Heroes. When this movie was announced, the hype was so real that people were reported camping outside of movie theaters just waiting for it to come out because the show was just so good. The film depicts a future in the distant year of 2009, where thousands of people live in a gigantic fortress in space known as Macross. However, Earth is at war with the Zentradi, who seek to rule the galaxy. The Zentradi launch an attack on Macross, and a Valkyrie pilot named Hikaru finds himself rescuing a pop idol named Lin Minmay, but get trapped for days during the assault. Hikaru and Lin would then form a bond with one another that would develop into a relationship. However, the Zentradi would later capture Hikaru, Lin, and several others as a means to study and interrogate them, up until an opposing faction of the Zentradi, known as the Meltrandi, invades their ship, as the kidnapped humans end up going separate ways. Hikaru and one of the other humans that were taken, Misa, would find themselves stranded on a desolate world that turns out to be Earth, as the Zentradi had wiped out the human population living there. And much like how Hikaru and Lin got closer early on the film, the same happens with Misa here. Man, Hikaru just can't get a break. Everyone eventually reunites, and during the middle of a gigantic battle comes perhaps one of the most iconic scenes in anime history. Minmay's performance of Do You Remember Love, a number that was translated from an ancient song discovered in the remnants of proto-culture that Hikaru and Misa found during their time on Earth when they stumbled upon the origins of the Zentradi. There's so much at play during this climax. No question about it, it's a full-blown music video. People are dying left and right, everyone acknowledges that Minmay's performing, but she's literally out in the open and somehow does not get hit by anything, or is phased by anything whatsoever. And on top of it all, the song itself is so beautiful that it literally ends the war. It's also very worth noting that this is in fact voice actress Mari Ijima performing the vocals, and wow, she kills it. That's pretty much the gist of this movie, though it's a pretty wild ride. Part of it has to do with the fact that because it compresses an entire series in a 2-hour run, a lot of things happen really fast. Like the moments where Hikaru falls in love with Lin and Misa respectively almost happen immediately. I haven't watched the show myself, but I would definitely imagine that characters like Kaifun and Roy Fokker, yes, that's actually his name, have more development in the series, cause they're kinda just there as support and nothing else really. But because things kinda moved really fast, I would sometimes find myself being a bit lost as to what was exactly happening, but I was able to get back into it. Though problems aside, this was a very enjoyable movie. While the characters may not be super deep, they're definitely memorable and have a bunch of highlights and personality, the Zentradi included. It's not as effective as how the characters were written in, say, the movies for Fist of the North Star and Aim for the Ace, but it's certainly passable. The action is also pretty amazing, and it perfectly goes hand in hand with just how beautiful the animation is. You have all these gorgeous sweeps, every cell is just so full of life. It's beautiful. There's no other way to describe it. It's just absolutely beautiful and amazing. And while I found the soundtrack mostly forgettable, those music numbers, especially the last one, will stick with you. As my personal introduction to Macross, Do You Remember Love was definitely a fun time. By no means is it perfect, but it's undoubtedly a very fine piece of animation. And this movie would go on to be so popular that it would actually be written into the series as an in-universe film. A movie within a show, if you will. Guess I gotta watch the series sometime eventually, though Macross Plus was really good. But what do you guys think? Have you seen Macross? Did my description of this movie get you interested? Feel free to leave a comment and definitely consider supporting me on Patreon, where for a single $1, your name can appear at the end of every future upload. Other than that, you can also get early access to videos, exclusive content, commissioned video requests, and receive a t-shirt of your choice from my TeePublic. Once I reach enough patrons, I'll do a video covering several unmade Godzilla films, so if that's something you'd like to see, then go support me on Patreon. Feel free to like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and this is TitanGoji, signing off.